Hey there, and welcome back again to Yes, a Stripper podcast. On this podcast, we'll discuss how classifying each other as people and workers is dangerous to society and marginalized groups of people. We'll also talk about the climate in and outside of the strip clubs and all of the amazing things that strippers do. And of course, we'll talk about all of the things in between. I'm your queen, A.M. Davies, and this is Yes, a Stripper podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Yes, a Stripper podcast. It is a Wednesday, and we are still dealing with this COVID situation. So I'm still in my bedroom, which, it's not that bad in here. Life has been so hectic lately. Today's date is June 25th, 2020. To give anybody context, if it's like a year from now, if you're listening, life is so hectic. Everyone is under an immense amount of pressure. There is so much happening in the world that we're seeing breakdown after breakdown happening in society, in our personal lives, in our work lives. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be really transparent with you today. I am not fully prepared. I don't have the 4-for-1 rapid fire round question ready for my guests. And also, my guests were 18 minutes late to this podcast. And also, neither of my producers showed up today. And I'm saying all of that to say it doesn't matter. It's okay. We're all going through so much stuff that we just have to be patient and let things just happen as they happen and be kind to each other and be kind to ourselves even during these breakdowns. But what I do think we can do now is take this time during these breakdowns and really take this time to learn from them and learn about what's happening in society today and how we can look at things that haven't been working so that we can find new ways to make them work, so that in the future, we don't have such massive global breakdowns like we're having right now. And so we need to have discussions around what these breakdowns are and how we can improve the system that we all want to be a part of. So I have two really amazing guests today. I'm meeting them for the very first time. We met on Instagram. And they are two strippers and sex workers from Europe. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We have Frida and Cheetah on the line. And I'm unmuting you. Will you please say hello to the audience?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. What time is it over there?
7 in the evening.
7 in the evening. It's 10 in the morning here. Isn't that so fun? I love it. Thank you for being here. I don't care that you're late. You could have even flaked and it would have been okay. I thought about that,
It was because I counted the hours myself and I was like, okay, yeah. So I told Cheetah, it's like, yeah, we're going to go on this podcast at 6:30 in the evening. And then I was like, okay, I have to check it again today. And I went into this website that had 2 time slots. And the time slot said 7:30 to Pacific time. And I was like, okay, yeah, I told you wrong. But I didn't. The website lied to me.
Well, we're here now, so
yeah. She called me up at 6:30 and we're going on now.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I just want to do a check-in. How are you feeling where you're at, and tell everyone where you are in the world as well.
We're in Sweden. I'm in Stockholm City.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. And how are you feeling? What's going on in your city overall? Just the
energy. I don't know if you have heard, but Sweden is the only country in the world that never had a lockdown.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No, we never had a lockdown. And we haven't had since this COVID situation started. Our government, they are trying another path. No one really knows if it works or not. We have restrictions, of course, but right now, because now it's summer in Sweden, we have very long winters. So when the summer comes, people want to be outside and go on vacation holiday. So like right now, no one is really caring about the COVID situation at all. Like you can't even notice it, except the people dying. But that's
Yeah, it's pretty much the same
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
We have recommendation, but no one seems to follow
No,
really that much.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Are there like, do you have like a lot of deaths and hospitals overrun and issues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have like, I think it's over 5,000 people that have died in COVID now.
Okay.
And we are, as it looks like now, we have a very high death rate, especially here in Stockholm, compared to our neighbor countries, Norway and Denmark, which had a lockdown. But yeah, no one can really tell for sure right now. They say like maybe they had lockdown, but now when they are not in lockdown anymore, maybe they will have higher death rates after a while. But you can't really see it now, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Finland is pretty low also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of our neighbor countries are starting to open up, but they're not opening up for Sweden.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
Oh, they
we
won't
can't
let
visit.
They won't let people from Sweden in.
No,
That's
you're banned.
yeah. This doesn't sound great. I don't like
I
any of
kind
it.
of like that. Like we get to, because Sweden government and Swedish people, we are so used to like always be mobile everywhere. Like everybody loves the Swedes, and now we get to feel how it feels that not being welcomed and like being like the bad guys in the world. Like, no, you're not welcome here. I kind of like that.
You do like
Yeah.
yeah, to
Because
see what it
we have
feels
like,
like.
Yeah.
because we have like a rights movement that is starting to grow in Sweden, and it's starting to get hold. And now it's like the other way around. Now we are not welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Wow, that's so interesting. So are the clubs open in Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are there
as
restrictions?
usual.
What's that, Cheetah?
They are open as usual, and I don't think they have any restrictions for the guests, or maybe they're keeping a little bit more distance. But I don't work at a club right now. I do mostly freelance jobs and erotic venues and bigger shows. But all of what I can see from my friends and colleagues, they're not wearing gloves or face masks when they're working. It's just like usual.
Just like usual, and there's full contact
Yeah.
lap dances?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know any of that. It's incredible. Are you aware of the union stripper movement in the UK, United Strippers of the World and East London
Yeah.
Collective?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just heard about it.
Okay. And what's going on as far as strippers wanting to unionize or take power back? Is there any chatter about that in Sweden?
No.
No, I think it's been mostly talk. I've been saying this for years, that we have to like get together and use our power in numbers, because there are a lot of dancers out there.
Yeah.
And if we can all agree on making the job situation better for us, I think we could make it a lot better. But I think a lot of the girls are scared. Maybe they don't have the opportunity to have another education, so they can't go to another job afterwards. So all they have is dancing, and they don't. I think men are afraid to say what they want.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that because we have this very strong narrative here in Sweden that we don't have a strong sex worker movement. I know a movement that is trying to get heard, but they just get shut down all the time from the government. And the one who owns the narrative are white women. And these women don't like sex workers. They hate sex workers and they hate sex work. They want to forbid porn. They hate strip clubs. Like I know this guy who wanted to, it's like a famous a sports guy who had a podcast now, and he did an episode with strippers from a strip club in another city. And when the white feminist elite heard about this, they made like a very big fuss about it, and they have a lot of power. So what happened, it's more like, yeah, these girls, first of all, a lot of the podcasts, they had to explain how much they love their work, which I think is just so fucking irrelevant to talk about, because we can't talk about the actual work and the actual problems and how it actually is. Like, why do we do it? Why do we like it? Why do we sometimes not like it? Why is it bad? What is good in it? We can't even get through to that, because we have to talk about for hours how much we love this work and how it's not a work that can be compared to prostitution, because we always put those two against each other. That's very frustrating. We can't mobilize. We don't have that power, even if we want.
And still we have this big feminist movement that want to make women free, and you can be free in your sexuality and everything, but not too much, because you can't take your clothes off for money because you like it, because then something is wrong with you. You had a bad childhood or something.
I literally heard a woman say, a lot of women say that, like, that all the sex workers have a trauma. It's like, first of all, who hasn't a trauma? Like, everyone has a life and a baggage. But why would the trauma be the central of your choice to be a sex worker?
Yeah. And before I had stripped, I started out in porn. So I went the other way from porn to striptease. And I have a perfect childhood. I have the best parents ever, and they have supported me every step of the way.
Yeah, same here.
Even when I started doing porn, they weren't happy, but they supported me.
Same. My whole stripper sex work career, they questioned it a lot at first, but they supported me, and I had a wonderful childhood.
Yeah.
This is really powerful stuff. It's interesting to me because I thought maybe things were less conservative over there with sex. It sounds worse than it is here.
But it's so weird, because if you go to our neighbor country, Denmark, it's a whole other situation. They have another culture when it comes to sex work and striptease. And I'm not sure, but I know that they had a feministic movement before Sweden did. So maybe they have come further than Sweden itself. We are still like in this, like, we need to break through. But I mean, we have been doing this for a very, very long time. So I wish we had come further.
What do you think, Cheetah?
Yeah, we should have. And also Finland is also pretty happy about striptease, so to speak. I've been working at venues and doing shows there for a couple of years, and there never been any problems with feminist movements, so-called feminist movements, that trying to stop it. But we have had this problem. I know the Left Youth Association was standing outside one of the strip clubs in Gothenburg, stopping guests from coming inside, and that way stopping these girls from making a living. And you couldn't see that connection, that these girls were their own business owners. They all pay taxes and were there of their own free will. They couldn't see that, and that they were destroying. They couldn't make money because the left movement was standing outside demonstrating.
Right. Hold on, I just noticed my notifications are on. I need to turn that off. It doesn't interrupt us again. You mentioned Left Youth Movement. What is that?
Yeah, it's like the youth association of the left political party in Sweden.
And what do they stand for?
Well, they stand for a lot of good things, I think. Like they want to take back socialism, which I think is really good. But because we have this narrative, I don't know where it came from. I don't know when it started, but the narrative in Sweden is like sex work is always not in consent. And full sex workers are never, like, if you pay for sex, you're paying for a rape. That's how
What?
the word.
Yeah, pretty
do.
much.
Wow.
And since this narrative is the one that's domestic in this country, and even like politicians and other very strong organizations are using these words, then of course, like the young people and people who believe in this political view but don't know anything about sex work because they have never spoken to a sex worker.
Yeah,
They have
that's
never,
the thing.
yeah,
They don't
they
talk
They
to you
never
guys.
speak to us.
Of
They
course
doesn't
not,
ask us.
because you're terrifying.
yeah, I think they are. I think they are terrified because if this, they are terrified that if we allow this, then we will lower our moralic standards that we have in Sweden, that every person have the right to the best future and the best opportunity. And in that, like, utopian fantasy, sex work is not included because no one is doing that for like free will. No one is doing that because they want to. You can't get that inside these people's heads. They think that you are either too traumatized to do something else, or just too poor, or you're doing drugs, or you have something that is like not normative.
Right. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, something wrong,
Right.
probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to distinguish with the audience, like I really want them to get in your world individually, each of you, and what, you know, what you're doing under the umbrella of sex work currently, because I know you two are doing slightly different work. And so I really want to know what's going on in each world and how they like affect each other. So I'm going to start with Cheetah, and so can you tell us, as comfortable as much as you're comfortable with, what line of sex work that you've practiced or that you're currently practicing? And like a little bit of who are you? Let's just round you out as a person. Go for it.
Well, I started out doing porn
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it was exciting and interesting, and so I thought, why not? Let's try it. You have to try stuff once at least. And I thought it was fun for a while. Then I started stripping like a year and a half after that. I started stripping 2010, and I realized I made much more money in the striptease business than in the porn business, because the Swedish porn industry is pretty small. You have like 2 producers and they cooperate. And today I get a lot of emails from girls that are asking, oh, I want to start with porn. What should I think? And I say, you have to be really sure that you want to do this, because everyone will know that you're in porn. Sweden is a very small country and the word spreads easily. But today I'm a stripper, mostly freelance. So I do like private parties, special parties, and also bigger erotic events in Sweden and in Finland. And that's how I met Frida. So that's how we know each other.
Yeah. And what other other activities or interests are you involved in, like any other organizations, or you just living your life?
No, I'm pretty much living my life. Try to raise a voice for us, that we call ourselves feminists.
Yeah.
And some people just don't get how you can be a feminist and show your tits at the same time. But it's
I mean,
very
that's actually
possible.
the definition of feminism, is that it's my
Yeah.
body and I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. You know,
Yeah.
like feminists saying like, oh, I'm a feminist, but you can't do that with your body. It's like, you're not a feminist.
Yeah, and that's so weird, and that's how it's looked upon in Sweden also.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, be free and sexual, but not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah.
And I worked a little bit. I worked at a smaller strip club where we were just 2 girls at the time, and but the weird thing there was I got fired because I had a full-time job as a mechanic. So the manager was like, "Well, you can provide for yourself, so we don't need you." And now I was the only black girl at the club.
Wow.
So I was okay. Well, you're going to lose customers because
they fired you because you got a job as a mechanic.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
But the club has totally changed today. I was the first one to go, and he lets a lot of other girls go also, and that's something I want to lift, because I think the club owners aren't really fair to the girls.
Yeah. No
They're
kidding.
taking a lot of money.
Yeah.
I know some clubs take like 80% of what the girls.
80%.
Yeah, they take 80%, and the girls have to pay taxes on the last 20 that they make. And that's just bullshit. That's just pure bullshit.
That's slave work.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I think it's so bad that we don't have this stripper union in Sweden. I've been talking about it for years, that we have to have good working contracts and stuff, so that we can earn money, and people get to see that this is a real job. Because it's the question you get when you're at the private parties or at the club is, so what do you do? And I know a lot of girls that have been doing this full-time, more than full-time, for years with no problem.
Yeah.
And still they get the question, but what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's just, I think it have to be changed.
Yeah, I mean, our work isn't recognized as legitimate work.
Yeah.
That's why it's looked at as just us being slutty. Because
and another thing is that I worked as a personal trainer, and they found out that I was a stripper, and they fired me. But they also have strip aerobics. Isn't it sick?
No.
Yeah. And I was like, but you have strip aerobics on the schedule at the other gyms.
Yeah.
Because it's a big chain of gyms. Yeah, but it's a fine line, it's something else. But I do striptease at my spare time as an extra job. And you're firing me?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
All right.
Wow.
And I told the clients I had during that time, and they were like, what?
Yeah.
But we like you.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job as a personal trainer, and they're firing you for being a stripper. So they didn't have a problem with it.
Your clients, right?
No, it was the people at the office that found out that I was a stripper.
Right.
And they thought it would hurt their brand.
I'm sorry about that, but that is the reality. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reality.
Yeah.
And that's how Sweden is. It's you can have strip aerobics, but you can't be a stripper.
Yeah.
And it's weird, because in the late 60s and 70s we had like full-on sex clubs where people could go and watch live sex.
Yeah.
And that's what Sweden is famous for. That's why they call it the Swedish sin. But today it's like the Swedish shame instead, because people are, if you go into a strip club, you can't really tell anyone. It's not like I guess in the US, where people hang out at strip clubs and go there after work. People are sneaking into strip clubs in Sweden and don't tell anyone, because if you go to a strip club, you have to be ashamed of yourself. kind of.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you said the sex club thing, because that's why I'm like, I thought y'all were like totally like chill over there, you know?
Yeah,
What happened?
I don't know. I think it was something in the 70s, and I also think that the left movement was involved in that too.
Okay.
I don't have the full backstory, but I believe it was something like that.
But also, like, we were socialist back then, and now we're
Yeah.
not anymore, and we don't care about each other like we did back then.
Wow. Okay. So, okay, Frida, let's get everyone up to speed on your story. So.
Yeah. So I started as a pole dancer. And so I started to do pole dance because I always had like this secret dream of being a stripper, and I never dared to enter the strip clubs. So I was like, yeah, I can do pole dance instead, because maybe that's like, maybe I will be fine with doing that. And I still do pole dance. I'm an instructor now at a studio here in Stockholm. But I realized when I started doing pole dance here in Stockholm, because back then, 8 years ago, it was very, very important that you were distancing yourself from the striptease. Yeah. Very important. Like the studio that I was training and then working in for a short time, they did not allow shoes, like stripper heels.
Okay.
You can dance as a stripper, but you can't wear stripper heels, because then you would be too much of a stripper. But I was so curious, and I love those heels, and that's what I wanted to do. So I started to I bought some heels, and then I went to this community and met strippers, and I was like, oh my God, these people are so cool. So before I started studying, I had like 6 months when I didn't have a job. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it now. So I started to strip outside of Sweden, in Europe, in Antwerp, in Belgium. And I loved it. And I go there still. I wanted to go this summer, but yeah, because circumstances, I can't. But I have mainly been working in clubs outside of Sweden, because I have been so afraid of revealing that I have been working as a stripper, because I'm studying now, and like, maybe I can't have a career if people know that I am a stripper. But now I'm more like, if people know and they don't hire me, I don't want to work there anyway. Like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I have been trying to work in a club here in Stockholm, and I didn't like it. And that particular club, I actually think it's just that particular club that is pretty shitty. That's one of the clubs that take 80% of your earnings. And also they want you to sign a contract that is basically selling your soul to them. And if you, like, they wanted me to work there, and if I couldn't work anywhere else in Scandinavia, which is just so weird. Like, I couldn't go to Denmark and work. Even, I mean, I could understand, like, yeah, you can't work in any other club in Stockholm, fine. But they didn't want me to go and work anywhere in Scandinavia. And if I decided to quit this job, I weren't allowed to work anywhere in Scandinavia for 2 years.
What?
If I would, they were like threatening with what's it called? Böter. Cheetah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, a fine. Sorry, they were threatening with a fine of 200,000 Swedish crowns, which would be 20,000 approximately American dollars. and you can't even do that like lawfully in Sweden. Like they will never get that through if that would ever happen.
Ask you something. Did you notice, like, was this a progression where things got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and then got to this point, and you're looking at it, and now it's like you have an exclusivity contract. You can't work anywhere for 2 years.
I was reading its contract, and I read it word by word, and then I looked up at this girl, and I was like, I'm not going to sign this, you know that. And she was like, yeah, but you have to sign it to work. And I was like, no one can sign something like this. I won't sign it. Like, then I don't work. But she was like, okay, yeah, but you can work today, and then you can talk to the managers. I was like, I'm never going to sign this. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I got working in this club was like, since we don't have, like, I think that this is actually because we have this view on sex workers, because no strip clubs are allowed to sell alcohol. So we need to sell something else. So you can offer the clients massage. But some clients have read that they are also allowed to like jerk off if they pay over a certain amount of money. And she told me like, yeah, if they pay over this amount of money, they are allowed to do that. And I was like, but isn't that like something that I should be able to decide myself? Because that can be kind of a big deal. Like, what if I feel that this customer is like dangerous or something? And she was, no, if he pays this much. And I was like, what do I get for that? Do I get more paid if he do that when I'm in the room? She was like, no. So I get 20%, and I had to pay taxes. So yeah,
I can understand why these people are so angry and trying to shut this down. I can understand that they don't have the education, that they don't see that it could be a different way, because this is horrendous. This is sex slavery, and this is sex trafficking. That is what this sounds like.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that these kind of clubs can do this because they will never get questioned. They are already the bad guys, and the strippers won't question them because we are not able to unionize, because we are, I don't know, we are too scared, or we don't have the energy, or everything is fine as it is. And
so you don't have any allies. That's your biggest. You have no allies, and that's what we need. That's the purpose of this. This episode is to find that for you.
Yeah. I think we have allies, like we have sex workers who trying to unionize. And they are really trying, and mainly these people are full service sex workers or somewhere there. I don't think many strippers are in this organization. And that's also bad, because we need each other. We need to understand that we are all like under the same umbrella, so we can push these questions and demands in front, so they are visible. But right now, this narrative is just dividing us into different groups, and strippers don't want to be associated with full service sex workers, because that's kind of bad for us, because then we get like, it's just horrible.
Because if they're okay, so are strippers and full service sex workers looked at differently by society? Is society like more against, or is it kind of equal, more against one or the other, or equal?
I think society is more against full service sex workers, but also against strippers. And that's why strippers want to distance themselves from full service sex workers. So no one would think that we do the same thing.
Because you're already having a hard enough time.
But I mean, it's no use for us kicking downwards. We have to fight up.
You have to stay together. I agree with that.
Yeah, and we also have the male strippers, which are not the world doesn't, or Sweden doesn't look at the male strippers the same way as the female strippers, because after the Magic Mike movies, the male strippers have jobs all the time, and Me Too has been good for those who needed it, but it has been very bad for us, and especially for us that are working freelance. No one dared to book a stripper for the bachelor party or for the company party anymore, because someone will stand there and like, oh, that's not good.
Oh, because of Me
We
Too
can't have a girl taking off her clothes in front of us. That's bad.
Yeah, and I think
but
it's
on
so.
the
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, and but the guys, the male strippers have jobs all the time, and no one says anything. That's just fun and party.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's the shame that comes with going to a strip club, as you said,
Yeah.
Cheetah, that men go into or people entering a strip club in shame, or like they don't have any business there. They have to do it for like as a joke, or in shame, and with that shame, it also reflects on us as workers, because then we get shamed with their shame. Like, yeah, I'm ashamed for entering a strip club. I'm ashamed for buying a lap dance, but also this girl is a stripper, so she's worse than I am. So it's just a bad circle, and I don't know how to break it. It's just every day.
Yeah, and we both work at this erotic venue.
Okay.
And there we also actually have to pay to be on stage to do our shows. Then we have to sell private dances to the guests, so we can earn the fee that we pay to the venue. And we have to earn money so we can, because we have to pay for our travel, our living, our clothes. We pay for everything, our food, everything.
Yeah.
So we start out on minus.
Yeah.
Before the venue even starts. But
Yeah.
the male dancers get paid to be on stage.
Come on.
And that's so fucked up.
Okay.
And they don't have to be there. The guys getting paid for the shows. They don't have to be there 3 hours before the venue opens. They don't have to deal with drunk guests that think they can touch you for free. And like Frida says, they think it's a joke. No one dares to buy a lap dance before they are fully drunk or they have their friends with them.
Yeah.
So it's just wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is a lot. Mm-hmm.
And the organizer of the venue, he's like, well, then I find other girls, and then they take in the fresh girls that haven't been stripping for so long, and they just want to be on stage.
Yeah.
And the quality of the shows doesn't matter for him, but there are some of us that have been doing these venues for 8-10 years, and we have shows that we put a lot of hours into. We mix our own music, we make our own clothes, we do our own choreography, and we don't get paid for all the hours before. We don't get paid for the 30-40 hours we do before the show, and we don't even get paid for the 10 minutes on stage. We have to pay for them.
Wow.
And no one sees this hard work that goes behind it.
Yeah. And how do you find that right now, like before COVID, could you just go somewhere else and work? You could go to Denmark, you could go somewhere.
Yeah.
It was
I know a lot of girls that go to other countries and work.
Yeah.
And that had been the a very good advantage to being Swedish, because you are almost always welcome to club anywhere in the world, because Swedish people are the good people, like the shy and the nice and blah blah blah.
Sure.
So
neutral.
Before this, we were able to go almost anywhere and get a job.
Yeah.
even if you got fired, you called an agent, like, can you get me a new job? Yeah, thank you. And then you're off again.
But right now you can't. You have to. They won't let you in.
No.
No.
And for how long?
No, we're banned everywhere.
For how long do we know?
Probably, I think it will be all summer at least.
Yeah.
There's talks of that not lasting forever, though, right? They do realize that's a temporary measure.
Yeah, it won't be. I think they're gonna try it again, like opening the boards, or they're like. I think some countries are starting to let Swedish people in already. I think like Croatia and somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm not sure if you can go there and work. I have no idea.
Right. Like, are they open? What's their status? Yeah, it's different everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you have like clusters of countries all around you, right? And then every country is handling it differently. Yeah. I guess that's kind of similar to here. All of our states are doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's a mess. The world is a complete mess. Yeah. This is a lot to process.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just am so impressed that you're keeping it together, and that you're able to talk so calmly about what's happening. And thank you for sharing it, because like the world we need to talk about this. And you guys need allies. Like, you need real support. Yeah, you need some media attention. You need someone bigger, like with more power, because it sounds like there's this power imbalance, and you can't get anywhere, and you're just drowning. And yeah, so that's one of the main reasons I want to have this podcast, is so that you can have your voice. Like, I don't want to just interview famous people. Whatever, they have big enough voices. It's your voices that are so important, the ones that nobody's listening to. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Want to be fabulous just like these strippers? Pay attention. It's Stripper Tips.
When you said it could be like stripper tips, like for society also, I felt like, yeah, listen to us. That's my stripper tip.
Yeah.
Just listen to us and hear what we have to say before you form your own opinion and try to banish us, because most of us know what we're doing, and we're pretty comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But otherwise than that, like, if you're working long days, tape your toes, because you don't want to have sores on your toes.
Good one. Yeah. No. That's great. Yeah. That was great. I've never thought to do that. Yeah. Whew. Frida, you're next.
Well, okay, stripper tip is especially for Swedish people, but maybe some other people need to hear this. Like, sexuality is fluid. It is not. I'm sorry, my cat is like.
Okay.
Sexuality is fluid, and you can't have an opinion about sex work if you haven't at least talked to one or visit a strip club. So before you have this, don't tell things like they are facts when you haven't spoken to a sex worker at all. And also wear more glitter.
Of course.
That's my favorite color, glitter.
Yes. Oh, that was amazing. What a pleasure speaking to both of you.
Same.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Such an honor to be a guest.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much to everybody for watching and or listening. Make sure you're doing all the things, following us, subscribing, download, and listening every Wednesday. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
And oh yeah, P.S.
I'm really grateful that we can see the progression of how things get worse when you do fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And when I say you do fucking, and this is not to shame or to judge the Swedes, that or anybody, But I it's like standing here sometimes being like, this is wrong, it has to change, and nobody's doing anything about it. And then before you know it, you're giving away 80% of your money and you're paying taxes on 20% of it, and you have no choice.
No.
And it gets to that point. And so I think that seeing like, oh yes, it can be much worse, is really important for strippers around the world to like wake up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's so that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, the best thing I think should be if we started a union and I know a lot of girls are studying law. So if we could get like lawyers that are ex-strippers working or willing to be our voices, that would be like a dream.
I want to do a PhD in criminology, and this is like all that I want to write about, more or less, like the narrative and how it came from this to what it is today.
Yeah, to understand the breakdown of the history, and so that you can kind of maybe find the root of the problem and then target that. Because I've actually been wanting to do that here with local, like California history. Like, why don't we sell alcohol in nude clubs and topless clubs? Like, why is that an issue? And like, because it used to not be. So what happened? So so I want to do the same thing you're talking about, like to start become a little bookworm. So well, this is an excellent example to other strippers around the world. Start speaking up now. All right, I'm going to stop.
Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at yesastripperpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at yesastripperpodcast. And you can catch the show on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere that you can find podcasts. We hope you tune in next week. I've been your host, A.M. Davies. See you soon.